You know that one friend who swears, "I'm doing everything right. I add chia seeds to my smoothie every single morning, but my joints still ache, my belly still feels puffy, and my skin still flares up. What am I doing wrong?" If that sounds even a little bit like you, this video might change the way you look at healthy food forever. Because here's the uncomfortable truth nobody tells you. Chia seeds on their own are massively overhyped for inflammation. They're not useless, but they're like a powerful gadget with the batteries missing. And once you add the missing piece, that same simple seed can hit your gut, your liver, your joints, and even your sleep in a way you can actually feel. Most people hear that chia is loaded with omega-3s and instantly imagine it melting away pain, calming the belly, and shrinking that stubborn bloat around the waist. But there's a hidden problem here. The type of omega-3 in chia is ALA, and your body has to turn ALA into EPA and DHA before it can really go to war against inflammation. That conversion happens mainly in the liver, and for a lot of people, that process is painfully slow. So you keep pouring chia into your breakfast, waiting for magic, while your liver is quietly overwhelmed, your conversion rate is tiny, and your inflammation barely budges. The seed is powerful, but the system behind it is tired. In this video, we're going to flip that script completely. You're going to see why chia by itself rarely delivers what you were promised, what you actually need to add to switch it on, and how 3 simple combinations can start calming inflammation from 4 directions at once: your gut, your liver, your bloodstream, and even your nervous system. We'll talk about a spicy golden combo that wakes up chia's anti-inflammatory potential, a leafy green partnership that finally lets your liver convert those omega-3s properly, and a nighttime ritual that uses chia to help your brain reset while you sleep. By the end, you'll know exactly how to use chia in a way that feels good, not just sounds good on the internet. Let's start with the biggest misconception: why chia seeds alone almost never give you the results you're chasing. When you open a bag of chia seeds, it feels like you're holding pure health in your hands. Every label screams omega-3, fiber, superfood. So you toss a spoonful over your yogurt, you mix it into juice, maybe you stir it into water and feel proud of yourself. Weeks go by, and your joints are still stiff in the morning, your stomach still feels tight and gassy after meals, and that dull fatigue is still sitting heavy behind your eyes. It's frustrating, because you're doing the healthy thing everyone recommended. So what's going on? Here's the first piece. The omega-3 story is only half true when you look at chia on its own. The plant-based omega-3 in chia is ALA, which sounds impressive, but ALA is just the raw material. Your body has to transform that ALA into EPA and DHA, the heavy hitters that really help cool inflammation in your cells. The problem is that most people convert only a small fraction of ALA into EPA and almost none into DHA. And that conversion mostly happens in the liver, which for many of us is already busy dealing with sugar, processed oils, late-night snacking, and constant stress. So while you think you're flooding your system with anti-inflammatory goodness, your body is actually struggling to assemble the weapon. The second piece most people miss is what chia actually does really well. The moment chia hits water, it does that weird thing where it swells and turns into a gel. That gel is soluble fiber. And soluble fiber is like a gentle sponge and broom in your gut. It binds to waste, slows down how fast sugar hits your blood, feeds the good bacteria, and gives your intestinal lining a chance to calm down. That's powerful, but it's mostly happening inside your digestive tract. If the rest of your system, your liver, your nervous system, your sleep, is on fire, that fiber alone can't put out the flames. It's like sweeping the floor while the ceiling is still leaking. So no, chia seeds aren't a scam. They're just incomplete. On their own, they're the engine with no fuel, the recipe without heat. To actually feel the shift in inflammation, you have to pair them with the right partners. Partners that unlock absorption, support your liver, and help your body do the deeper repair work it can't do with fiber alone. And that starts with a vibrant yellow spice you probably already have in your kitchen. Imagine you could take that soft chia gel in your glass and turn it into a kind of slow-release anti-inflammatory drink. one that doesn't just soothe your gut, but quietly travels into your joints, your skin, and even your brain. That's what happens when you combine chia with turmeric and black pepper. Most people already know turmeric is good for inflammation, but they don't realize how much they're wasting it when they sprinkle a pinch on their food and call it a day. Turmeric's main active compound, curcumin, is a beast when it comes to calming inflammatory signals, but your body barely absorbs it on its own. This is where black pepper steps in. Black pepper contains piperine, a compound that acts like a gate opener for curcumin. When you combine them, piperine can boost curcumin's availability in your body dramatically, to the point where that same pinch of turmeric suddenly has real reach. Without black pepper, it's like sending a powerful message that never gets delivered. With black pepper, that message finally reaches the cells that need it most. Now here's where chia quietly makes the whole duo even better. Remember that gel it forms in liquid? That gel slows down digestion. When you stir turmeric and a tiny pinch of black pepper into a warm chia drink, you create a kind of cushion that keeps those compounds in your digestive system longer. More time in contact with your gut lining means more opportunity for absorption. So instead of curcumin rushing through your body and disappearing, it drips in more steadily. Chia helps turmeric stay. Turmeric helps reduce inflammation signals. Black pepper opens the door so turmeric can actually be used. People who start their day with this simple trio often notice changes in places they didn't even expect. Their belly doesn't feel as tight after meals. Their fingers don't feel as stiff when they wake up. That heavy, foggy feeling behind the eyes starts to lift a little. It's not magic. It's mechanics. You've upgraded chia from nice fiber to a real anti-inflammatory ally by giving it the right company. And the best part? You don't need a fancy recipe or an expensive supplement. A tablespoon of chia, about half a teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, and warm water or milk is enough to start. Let it sit for a few minutes until the chia blooms into that soft gel. If you want to make it more comforting, add a bit of honey, a squeeze of lemon, or some grated ginger. You've just created a drink that works on your gut, your blood, and your joints all at once. But even this golden combo has a limit if one major organ is still struggling in the background: your liver. Picture your liver as a 24/7 processing plant. It's handling everything: sugar, fats, caffeine, food additives, environmental toxins, hormones, and the nutrients you're trying so hard to get from healthy foods. It's also the place where ALA from chia gets turned into EPA and DHA, those more powerful inflammation-fighting omega-3s. When your liver is clear, supported, and not overloaded, this transformation works more smoothly. But for a lot of people, the liver is like a factory that's been running non-stop with zero maintenance. If your days are full of quick snacks, sweet drinks, fried food, ultra-processed treats, or just constant nibbling from sunrise to midnight, your liver never really goes off duty. Add in stress, late-night screen time, and lack of movement, and it's easy for your liver to become irritated and sluggish. When that happens, it doesn't matter how many chia seeds you swallow. The conversion from ALA to EPA and DHA just crawls. The raw materials enter, but not much comes out. You end up with a body full of potential and a system that can't quite use it. This is where leafy greens slide in like quiet heroes. Spinach, kale, cilantro, parsley, arugula, watercress, fenugreek leaves, morina leaves. These aren't just diet food. They're packed with chlorophyll, minerals, and antioxidants that help your liver do what it's meant to do: filter, neutralize, and reset. Think of greens as the cleaning crew that walks into that exhausted factory, opens the windows, clears out the old trash, and oils the machines. They don't shock the liver, they support it. When you start bringing leafy greens into your day consistently, not as a tiny garnish, but as a real part of your meals, strange things begin to happen. Your digestion feels a little lighter. Your energy in the afternoon doesn't crash quite as hard. That puffy, inflamed feeling around your middle starts to ease off. And behind the scenes, your liver finally has enough breathing room to go back to converting those chia omega-3s into the forms your body can actually use. The seed was never the problem. The environment it landed in was. Now combine chia and leafy greens together, and you get a very different picture than a lonely spoonful of seeds floating on top of your cereal. Imagine a green smoothie made with a handful of spinach or kale, some cucumber or apple for taste, water or a plant-based milk, and a spoonful of chia soaked beforehand so it becomes a soft gel. Or a big salad where the base is leafy greens, topped with a sprinkle of soaked chia and a drizzle of olive oil and lemon. In both cases, the greens are calming the liver and supporting detox pathways, while the chia is delivering fiber, steady energy, and those omega-3 precursors. When people start doing this regularly, the shift is often subtle at first, but noticeable. They feel less inflamed after meals, their clothes fit a bit more comfortably, their skin doesn't look as irritated, and their mood becomes more stable. That's your liver exhaling. That's your body finally getting both the raw material and the environment it needs to actually use it. Chia stops being an isolated superfood and becomes part of a system. But there's another huge piece of the inflammation puzzle that hardly anyone connects to their chia habit: sleep. Ask most people what causes inflammation, and they'll say sugar, fried food, or stress. Very few will say, my sleep. Yet a single night of bad sleep is enough to nudge inflammatory markers upward. When poor sleep becomes a pattern, your whole system can slip into a state of background inflammation, swollen on the inside, even if you can't see it in the mirror. You just feel it as heaviness, fogginess, irritability, and stubborn fat that refuses to budge. Sleep is the time your body runs its deep repair program. This is when your tissues heal, your brain clears waste, your hormones rebalance, and your immune system recalibrates. If you consistently cut that process short by scrolling late into the night, eating heavy dinners before bed, or waking up multiple times because your blood sugar keeps crashing, your body never gets to complete that repair cycle. Inflammation that should have been resolved overnight stays active the next day. Layer that over and over, and suddenly your joints are noisier, your gut is touchier, and your mood is all over the place. Here's where chia enters the story again, but this time, not as a morning superfood, but as a nighttime ally when you combine it with ingredients rich in tryptophan. Tryptophan is an amino acid your body uses to make serotonin, which later turns into melatonin, the hormone that signals your brain it's time to sleep. Foods like warm milk, yogurt, oats, pumpkin seeds, almonds, and bananas all bring tryptophan to the table. Chia brings steady fiber and healthy fats that keep your blood sugar from swinging wildly through the night. Put them together and you get something powerful, a calming evening snack that feeds your nervous system instead of overstimulating it. Think of a simple chia pudding made with warm milk or a dairy-free alternative, a bit of yogurt, some crushed nuts, maybe a few slices of banana, and a drizzle of honey if you like. As the chia absorbs the liquid, it forms that familiar gel, but now it's wrapped around tryptophan, gentle fats, and just enough natural sweetness. Instead of a sugary dessert that spikes and crashes your blood sugar, you get a slow-burn fuel source that keeps things steady while your brain builds the chemicals it needs for deep sleep. When your sleep finally deepens, even by an hour or two, your body uses that time ruthlessly well. Inflammation gets dialed down. Stress hormones drop. Your gut lining gets a chance to repair. Your brain clears out inflammatory waste products that build up during the day. You wake up with a slightly clearer head, a lighter body, and more stable cravings. Over time, this is one of the most underrated ways to calm long-term inflammation. Not just what you do when you're awake, but what you enable your body to do while you're asleep. And there's another layer here. Chronic stress and anxiety are like gasoline on the inflammation fire. When your mind is constantly racing, your body stays in on-guard mode. Your stress hormones stay elevated, your muscles stay tight, and your digestion becomes more fragile. That alone can keep your inflammation stuck on a low simmer. Tryptophan-rich foods paired with chia don't just help you sleep. They help your nervous system stop buzzing in the evening. As serotonin levels rise, your body gets the message that it's finally safe to exhale. You become less reactive, less wired, and more grounded. That change alone can lower the inflammatory pressure sitting under everything else you feel. So now you've seen three very different faces of chia: the gut-soothing fiber, the turmeric-boosting absorption partner, and the slow, steady support system for sleep and nervous system repair. But how do you actually put this into your routine without turning your day into a complicated wellness project that's impossible to stick to? The key is rhythm, not perfection. You don't need 10 different recipes and a kitchen full of supplements. You just need a few simple anchors. One option is your morning anti-inflammatory start. Before breakfast, mix a tablespoon of chia with warm water or your favorite warm milk. Add that half teaspoon of turmeric and a small pinch of black pepper. Let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes so the chia can bloom. Sip it slowly. That's your gut fiber, your anti-inflammatory spice, and your absorption booster all in one. You've just fed your microbiome, nudged down future blood sugar spikes, and given your cells a quiet signal that today, things will be a little calmer. Later in the day, you can bring in the liver support. Maybe lunch includes a salad built on a base of leafy greens, spinach, kale, arugula, whatever you have, with some healthy fat like olive oil, a source of protein, and a sprinkle of soaked chia on top. Or you throw a handful of greens into a blender with water, lemon, and pre-soaked chia for an afternoon drink that doesn't leave you wired like coffee does. That's your liver support and omega-3 raw material, working together instead of in separate corners. Then, a few evenings a week, you add the sleep ritual. 2 to 3 hours before bed, you make a small chia pudding or warm chia drink with a tryptophan-rich ingredient, maybe oats, warm milk, yogurt, or a bit of banana. Keep it gentle and not too heavy. As you eat or sip, treat it like a signal to your nervous system. The day is closing, the work is done, repair mode is coming. Over time, your body will start to associate that pattern with winding down. What you'll notice isn't some overnight miracle where every symptom vanishes. Instead, you'll spot a pattern of small wins. The afternoon energy crash isn't as brutal. Your belly doesn't argue with you after every meal. That weird stiffness in your fingers eases up. You wake up without feeling like you've been hit by a truck. Your mind feels less cloudy and more able to focus. These are signs that inflammation, the background noise behind so many issues, is finally being turned down from multiple directions. Of course, chia, turmeric, leafy greens, and tryptophan-rich foods are not magic shields. If your days are still packed with ultra-processed foods, constant stress, no movement, and 5 hours of sleep, no amount of seeds can fully cancel that out. But the beauty of these combinations is that they are simple, accessible, and forgiving. You don't have to be perfect to feel a difference. You just have to be consistent enough to give your body the tools it's been missing. So the next time someone says, "I've been taking chia seeds for months and nothing's changing," you'll know exactly why. It's not that the seed is weak. It's that it was never meant to carry the entire load by itself. Chia needs its team. It needs turmeric and black pepper when you want deep anti-inflammatory support. It needs leafy greens when you want your liver to actually convert omega-3s and clear out waste. It needs tryptophan-rich partners when you want your sleep to stop sabotaging your healing. If you put those pieces together, chia stops being just another trendy topping on your smoothie bowl and becomes part of a quiet, daily strategy your body can rely on. Your gut gets cleaner, your liver gets calmer, your joints get more support, your sleep gets deeper, and your inflammation finally starts moving in the direction you always hoped it would when you first opened that little bag of seeds. But we haven't even talked yet about one of the simplest, most underrated partners chia needs to do its job well: water. It sounds boring compared to turmeric and fancy greens, but hydration quietly decides how inflamed or calm your body feels day to day. When you're dehydrated, even a little, your blood becomes thicker, your cells feel stressed, and your body has a harder time moving nutrients in and waste out. Inflammation is often your body's way of saying, something is stuck, something isn't flowing. Chia seeds are like tiny sponges. They soak up multiple times their weight in water. That's why throwing dry chia straight on a food without much liquid can sometimes make people feel more bloated or constipated at first. The seed is trying to hydrate itself, but there isn't enough water available. When you give chia what it needs, plenty of liquid, you flip that experience. Instead of pulling water away from your system, the gel helps hydrate your gut lining and slows down how quickly that fluid leaves your body. You feel fuller, but lighter. Your digestion feels more supported, not weighed down. So if you're serious about using chia for inflammation, don't just ask, what should I add to it? Also ask, am I drinking enough around it? A good rule is simple. If you're taking chia, pair it with a full glass of liquid and keep sipping water or herbal tea through the day. Think of it as turning on the sprinklers inside your body so the nutrients you're working so hard to take in can actually move. Suddenly, that combination of chia, turmeric, leafy greens, and tryptophan-rich foods has a smooth highway to travel on instead of a dry, cracked road. Now, let's zoom in on the kind of inflammation you can't feel directly, the silent kind. Chronic inflammation is the one you know, the sore knee, the stiff back, the tender belly. Silent inflammation is sneakier. It's the slow, low-grade irritation inside your blood vessels, your liver, your pancreas, your brain. You don't wake up thinking, "Ah yes, my arteries feel inflamed today." You just notice that you're always tired, your focus is weaker, your weight clings to your midsection, your skin looks dull, and your mood swings come out of nowhere. This silent inflammation is often driven by blood sugar swings, poor sleep, constant stress, and too many refined oils and processed foods. You might not feel an obvious ouch, but your immune system is quietly on edge, sending out little alarm signals over and over. Over years, that can affect everything from heart health to brain aging. That's why calming inflammation isn't just about moving more easily today. It's about protecting the future you. The chia combinations we've been talking about actually line up almost perfectly with the major roots of silent inflammation. The morning chia turmeric pepper drink works on the gut and the bloodstream, giving your body more anti-inflammatory support right at the start of your day. The leafy green plus chia meals support the liver and blood sugar balance, gently nudging down those internal stress signals. The nighttime chia plus tryptophan ritual helps repair the nervous system and improve sleep, lowering the constant drip of stress hormones. You're not just chasing symptoms, you're quietly repairing the roots. To make this feel even more real, imagine someone called Sarah. She's not extremely sick, but she's not exactly thriving either. Her knees click when she climbs stairs. She needs coffee just to feel normal. Her skin has random redness she covers with makeup. She snacks all day to keep going. Everyone tells her, "You're fine. That's just getting older." So she buys a bag of chia seeds she saw online and starts tossing a spoonful onto her breakfast cereal. After a month, nothing dramatic happens. Maybe her digestion is a tiny bit better, but the joint pain? Still there. The brain fog? Still there. She shrugs and assumes chia was just overmarketed. Now picture a different version of Sarah. Same person, same bag of chia, but this time she uses it with a plan. In the morning, she drinks her warm chia turmeric mix instead of a sugary juice. At lunch, she eats a big leafy salad with soaked chia on top and a simple dressing. 3 nights a week, she makes a small chia yogurt oat bowl with a few nuts and banana slices instead of cookies or chips. She also starts drinking more water without obsessing about it. Just a glass every time she has one of her chia combos. A few weeks later, she notices her fingers don't feel as stiff when she types in the morning. She doesn't snap at people as quickly when she's stressed. The energy crash around 3 p.m. gets softer. Her jeans fit just a bit more comfortably. She didn't go on a strict diet. She didn't count calories. She simply helped her body do what it was already trying to do: lower inflammation and restore balance. The chia didn't change. The way she used it did. Of course, whenever you talk about natural ways to calm inflammation, a few doubts pop up, and they're totally fair. One question people often have is, isn't this too simple? Can a few basic foods really make a difference when my problems feel this big? The honest answer is that if you're dealing with a serious medical condition, you always need to be working with a professional and not just relying on food. But for everyday inflammation, the kind that shows up as stiffness, bloat, low energy, and mood swings, Simple changes done consistently are exactly where you start. Your body loves small, repeatable habits more than extreme, short-lived overhauls. Another concern is, what if I don't like the taste? That's where creativity comes in, not perfection. If you hate warm drinks, make a chilled version of the Chia turmeric mix with slightly less turmeric and a bit more lemon and honey. If salads bore you, blend your greens with fruit and water and drink them as a smoothie with soaked chia stirred in at the end. If you're not a fan of yogurt, try overnight oats with chia, plant milk, and a sprinkle of nuts. The point isn't to copy someone else's exact recipe. It's to keep the three principles alive: anti-inflammatory spice, liver-loving greens, and sleep-supporting tryptophan, all holding hands with chia and enough hydration. You might also wonder, how long until I feel something? Everybody's timeline is different, but a good test is to give it a solid 2 to 3 weeks of daily or near-daily use. Not one day on, 4 days off. Think of it like training a muscle. The first time you work out, you don't instantly become stronger. But a few weeks in, you notice you can climb stairs easier or carry heavy bags without thinking about it. In the same way, calming inflammation with food is about repetition. Every time you choose the chia combos over something that stokes inflammation, you're casting a vote for the calmer version of your body. As you keep going, pay attention to subtle markers rather than waiting for a dramatic before and after moment. Ask yourself questions like, do I wake up feeling a tiny bit more rested? Do my rings feel less tight on my fingers in the morning? Do my clothes feel a bit more forgiving around the waist? Do I feel less desperate for sugar in the afternoon? These small yes answers are the quiet language of inflammation easing down. There's one more important thing to keep in mind. Chia, turmeric, leafy greens, and tryptophan-rich foods don't cancel out every choice you make, but they do raise your body's resilience. That means when you do have a heavier meal, a late night, or a stressful week, your system is better equipped to bounce back instead of staying stuck. Think of these combinations as daily deposits into an anti-inflammatory savings account. When life hits you with withdrawals, you've built up something to protect you. So if you've been sprinkling chia on random meals and wondering why you're not glowing with energy and moving like a teenager, now you know. The seed itself was never the full story. The real shift happens when you bring the right allies to the table. Turmeric and black pepper to wake up its anti-inflammatory power. Leafy greens to clear space in the liver and improve omega-3 conversion. Hydration to keep everything moving. And tryptophan-rich foods at night to let sleep do the deep healing work that nothing else can replace. From here, your next step doesn't have to be complicated. Choose one of these combinations and start there. Maybe tomorrow morning you try the warm chia turmeric drink. Maybe at lunch you build your plate around a pile of greens instead of a pile of bread and sprinkle soaked chia on top. Maybe tonight you swap your usual late-night snack for a small, calming chia pudding with oats and a few nuts. Start with one, feel the difference, then add another. Your body isn't asking you for perfection. It's asking you for support. Chia seeds alone are a whisper in that direction. Chia combined with the right partners is a clear, steady message. I'm ready to heal. And when you send that message day after day, inflammation eventually has no choice but to listen. Before we wrap this up, let's clear up one last myth that quietly keeps a lot of people stuck. The idea that if one food is good, more of it must always be better. With chia, that mindset can backfire. Taking huge amounts all at once, without enough water or balance in the rest of your diet, can leave you feeling uncomfortable instead of supported. The goal isn't to drown your body in any single ingredient. The goal is to create harmony, just enough of the right things working together so your system can do what it already knows how to do. So instead of asking, how much chia can I cram into my day? Ask, how can I build small, smart rituals around it? A spoonful in a golden morning drink. A sprinkle on a bed of greens that love your liver. A calming evening bowl that helps your brain slide into better sleep. These aren't massive, dramatic moves. They're gentle nudges in the right direction, repeated so often that they start to shape who you become. Imagine yourself a few months from now if you actually commit to this. Not perfectly, but consistently. You wake up with less stiffness. Your belly feels calmer. Your focus is sharper. You don't need as much caffeine just to feel human. Your mood doesn't swing as wildly when life gets messy. You feel more in your body instead of fighting against it all the time. That version of you is not a fantasy reserved for lucky people with perfect genetics. It's the version of you that appears when inflammation stops running the show. And if this video gave you even one light bulb moment, if you're already thinking about how you'll tweak your breakfast, your lunch, or your nighttime snack, don't let that spark fade. Take one tiny action today while it's fresh in your mind. Set out the chia, the turmeric, the greens, or the oats for tonight. Decide which combo you'll try first and make it easy for your future self to say yes. Chia seeds alone don't help much, and that's exactly why so many people feel disappointed after trying them. But when you pair them with the allies they've always needed, spices that unlock absorption, greens that free up the liver, water that keeps everything flowing, and evening foods that repair your sleep, they stop being a trend and start becoming a tool. You deserve a body that feels like it's on your side. You deserve joints that move more freely, a gut that doesn't argue with you every day, a brain that feels clear enough to focus on the things that actually matter. And the path to that doesn't have to be extreme. It can be as simple as a few seeds, a few leaves, a few spices, and a few quiet choices repeated again and again until they add up to a completely different way of feeling. That's it.